Good evening, everyone. The time is now 6:31, and I would like to call the City Council meeting for June 23rd, 2026 to order. We do have an absence. Councilman Roberts wrote in his reasons for being absent, so I would like a motion to excuse if possible.
Make a motion to excuse.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Yes. It was seconded by Marissa.
Aye.
Okay, so we have a technical difficulty, so we're going to go ahead and say all in favor. Please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. All right. Pardon? Okay. And now moving on to the invocation given to us by Police Chaplain Monteverde. Good evening, and thank you for coming. And now the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to 6, citizens be heard. This is the only time during the council meeting that a citizen can address the city council. It is the opportunity for visitors and guests to address the city council on any issue to include agenda items. All visitors wishing to speak must fill out the sign-in roster prior to the start of the meeting. City council may not deliberate any non-agenda issues, nor may any action be taken on any non-agenda issues at this time. However, city council may present any factual responses to items brought up by citizens. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body. Remarks may also be addressed to any individual member of the council, so long as the remarks are about matters of local public concern, not disruptive to the meeting, or threatening to the member or any attendee, including city staff. Any person violating this policy may request to leave the meeting, but no person may be requested to leave or forced to leave the meeting because of the viewpoint expressed. Citizens who want to submit written comments to be read during the citizens' comment portion of the city council meeting should include their name, address, and reason why they are unable to attend the meeting at which they want their comments read. Comments must be submitted to the city secretary at cibolotx.gov no later than 2 p.m. prior to the city council meeting. All comments received that include the required information will be provided to the mayor and council and may be summarized or read at the meeting at the discretion of the presiding officer. This meeting is live streamed. So I will call Miss Maggie Titterlington. Good evening and welcome. It's lovely to see you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I took the long way. I don't normally sit that far back. I just had a few things to make you aware of. On the 25th, which is Thursday, we're going to be doing the official grand opening of Thera Nails Lab at 11 a.m. I know you all got the calendar invite, but just wanted to reiterate, she's very excited. She cannot wait for this to be officially just shown out and for the community to come out. So please, hopefully that's on your calendar. Also, the 26th, the next day is our first smoothie celebration at Tropical Smoothie. Come out between 7:30 and 9. Our members get to enjoy free smoothies and breakfast items and get to network and meet with each other. Also, ACE, River City ACE. Wow, that was quite an incredible ribbon cutting. They are so grateful, and they have maintained their busyness since that grand opening. They're ecstatic by the welcome, by the embrace by the city, by the community, and not just because they were giving away Spurs tickets, but just everybody embracing them so much. They have had so far almost 20,000 views from the social media posting we did of their ribbon cutting, which is astounding. But, however, another Cibolo institution, Max and Louis, I don't think anybody's going to touch the 100,000. That still just floors us. I think it's at 104,000, and it was simply Drew's face just talking about Max and Louis. So incredible. Last but not least, we are currently working on the 2027 community guide for our 3 cities. I'll be reaching out to the city of Cibolo so I can get your calendar of events for next year, pictures from this year, so that we can better promote Cibolo and the events that are going on and just showcase some of the things that happened this year. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Smoothie King, love that place. Okay, moving on to, that's the only person we had. Moving on to item 6, consent agenda. All items listed below are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered as part of the order of business. 6A, approval of the March 2026 revenue and expense report pending final acceptance of the city's financial audit for the 25-26 fiscal year. 6B, approval of the March 2026 check register. 6C, approval of the quarterly investment report for quarter ending March 31st, 2026. 6D, approval of the minutes from the June 9th, 2026 meeting. Is everybody good with all of those consent agenda items? If you are, can I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve 6A through 6D as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. The motion passes. Moving on to 7A, the Union Pacific Sidewalk across Railroad Track on Main Street. We have an item on our agenda specifically addressing two different solutions for this. And so we'll discuss that more at that point in time, but I made a commitment to keep this on the agenda until we actually see that sidewalk. Any comments? Okay, moving on to 8, staff updates. 8A, administration. Do you want me to read through it, or do you want to address it?
I can start, but was there a specific item you wanted me to start with?
Is there any specific item you want to bring out of your staff? Cibolo Summer Nights is July 10th, this family sports and fun night at the Y. We have the capital improvement program updates on Main Street sidewalk across the railroad, which is an agenda item.
And I can take it from there.
Pardon?
And I can take it from there if you'd like.
Okay.
All right. And Main Street sidewalk across the railroad, actually tonight you're going to have a presentation by Kimley Horn. We have two of the consultants here, and they'll go over the preliminary design that they'd like to present to council. And so I'll leave it at that since they're going to give a presentation. And then the community center renovations phase 2 plans are in the permitting phase. Tentative solicitation will be sometime in July. I'm changing that. And then water main extension on FM 78. Contractor is addressing punch list items. Final inspection is scheduled for July 7th. Sewer rehabilitation on FM 78. Construction is 100% complete. The project is in the warranty period. FM 1103 utility relocation. This is for phase 2 of FM 1103, not the current phase, which stops at the Steele High School, Rodeo Way. And the bid opening was conducted on June 5th. Contract for that project, the utility relocation, will be presented to council on July 7th. And that should not be, you are not meeting on July 7th, you are meeting on July 14th. So pardon me for saying that. And then FY25 street rehab package, Silver Wing, Town Creek Road, Firebird Run, all of these have substantial completion. Final inspections are July 17th for each one of those. More details will be in your email. No other updates on capital improvements. No updates on RFPs, RFQs, RFBs, or ITBs. We do have some out-of-state travel. I have already sent this in an email to you, but to update you, the economic development team will be going out of state for training. This is fully funded through the Economic Development Corporation Fund. They will be going to the International Economic Development Council, IEDC, 2026 annual conference. That is in New Orleans this year, and that is in October. So this is advanced notice for sure. This is widely regarded as the premier conference for economic development professionals, and it presents a strong professional development opportunity for our ED team. The conference offers relevant training, access to national best practices, and opportunities to connect with peers and experts from across the country. Attending will also give our team time to learn together and bring back ideas that can be applied right here in the city of Cibolo. I've already sent that out-of-state update to the city council. And on the recruitment of the public works director, that has closed. We do have candidates that we will be moving forward with for semi-finalist round and moving on from there to a finalist round. More information as we make progress on that. Mayor, that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay.
Under administration 8AA, I guess, Cibolo Summer Nights on July 10th. I just wanted to ask Mr. Huggins, did we plan to have a youth council booth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
do.
perfect.
All right. No other questions? Then I will move ask anybody if they have any questions about 8B, the fire department monthly report, or 8C, the public works monthly report. You do? Okay.
So on the Public Works monthly report, and maybe it's not just Public Works, maybe it's everyone, I've noticed that C-Click Fix, a lot of the things that are reported on C-Click Fix stay open for a very long time. There's some in there from 2024 or earlier. I don't know if someone's responsible for going in and clearing those out, and making sure that they've been done. The majority of those have the automated response from whatever department it got filtered to that says, we'll look into this, we'll follow up. But then there's nothing else beyond that. And when I've been going around driving and looking at some of them, they haven't been taken care of, and it's been a while. So I didn't know if there was a plan in place for that, if anyone was aware, if they were going into the cloud somewhere. Like, I know at the very beginning, they were all going to one person, and they weren't getting pieced out to the departments. I think that got resolved. But now, when I go in there, there's still a lot that even I've put in there that are still open from 12-plus months ago.
We do have staff following up on all the C-Click fixes, and right now, the process is the C-Click fix is sent automatically to Cartograph for staff to track, but we will make sure that all open C-Click fixes to be closed on time. We'll go back and see, especially the old days, we'll follow up on that and make sure they're closed.
Thank you. I do want to give a shout out, the code guy, he's on it. All of his are like snappy. He always has responses in there for those. That is one that I did want to commend. He's been going out and responding to those pretty quickly.
Thank you. We'll let him
Thank you.
know.
Thank you. Any further questions? Moving on to 9A, discussion, action on the removal, appointment of members to all boards, commissions, committees, and corporations. Interview subcommittee.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing that we would like to address is the Board of Adjustments. We need to officially have a vote to remove two members that are currently there, which is Sarah Rogers and Nicole Forsberg. They have both submitted letters of resignation, but we would like these to be effective July 1st of 2026 for their removal. And the reason for that is Nicole, when she sent in her letter of resignation, she said she would be at the June 15th meeting, and that is exactly enough for their quorum.
Okay. Then I make a motion to remove Sarah Rogers and Nicole Forsberg effective July 1st from the Board of Adjustments.
I'll second.
Okay. The motion to remove Sarah and Nicole effective July 1st passed.
And then we do need to appoint to our Board of Adjustments, I forgot the application for Samantha. Mark Bryant, I did attach his application for y'all's review. He's very eager in learning our UDC. He is a realtor in our local area, so he's familiar with some of the issues that Cibolo faces. He did have some concerns in regards to not receiving full information, but as the interview committee, we did strongly urge him to reach out to the chair of the committee, so that way he could get any information he needed to staff and/or to the legal as he needed. He felt comfortable doing any research and committing his time to be part of this board and felt he could be a good representative to it. And I'm going to let Ms. Sanchez-Stevens speak on the other individual we would like to put on Board of Adjustments. Sure, Samantha.
Yes, we also interviewed Samantha Allen, who came in to interview, and she wanted to participate in serving the city. She's eager to, she's already part of the community. She has a small business here, and she wanted to contribute. Let's see. She had applied for the EDC, and she said that the B of A would be of interest just as well, as she's happy to serve our community.
So this would be Mark Bryant and Samantha
Allen.
Allen.
And this is to Board of Adjustments.
Okay.
And I apologize, I didn't put Samantha's information on there. That is my fault. Sorry about that,
No.
council.
I have a question for the interview committee. How are these openings advertised? Because it's my understanding that these were not posted on the city website or any of the city social media pages for our residents to know that there were openings on these committees and commissions. No,
And a lot of it is the council reaching out to residents that have expressed an interest, or our residents looking on the website itself, on the boards and commissions, to see if there's any availability on any of the boards.
So is that not a standard that we have to like just be transparent with the community and let them know that we have openings, that they
Certainly
should?
love to update that.
Because that didn't happen earlier this year either.
Right.
The last time, and I thought we had this discussion then as well, that we would be better about being more transparent with our residents about different opportunities they have to serve. Just
I don't believe it's ever
wondering.
been advertised on the city's website, but that it has. So I don't know when
Has.
it has fallen off, but yeah, there have been applicants throughout the year who are always looking to be on the boards. But to your point, it wouldn't be a bad ask to ask staff to repost them. I mean, we know that every even month, I know that we know it, but the rest of the community doesn't know that we do have appointments.
So one of the issues with the BOA would appear to me at this moment in time is that the two people that we're removing from the BOA are on the BOA. So if you looked at the Board of Adjustments, you would not know that there were going to be two openings. And the removal from council also would be up to council. So I think that as we move forward, if somebody is interested in one of these boards, because you're not going to know necessarily when a resignation may occur. And
Once you get one, wouldn't it be at that point in time that you advertise that there's an opening?
well, in the BOA, it's specifically more challenging because we actually have to vote to remove them. So we would have to put maybe a status in there that says pending, which would seem very aggressive, but pending removal or pending term ending, or some more polite way of saying, because removal sounds very harsher when they're actually just a resignation or pending resignation, something to that effect. And that would be probably the approach that could be taken that way.
I just think like when you look on there, you'll see when people's term ends, it appears that some boards and commissions will not have openings for 2 years. So then, like just me, if I was a resident, why would I apply for something like that if I know that there's not going to be an opening for 2 years?
Well, I'm not sure if you've ever seen the application, but on the application, they can check as many boards as they want. I mean, so there's always, fresh fish in the pond, if you would. But we're working on making that better as a subcommittee. So just, hey, talk to me and we can see what we want to make the process better.
But even this, is this the only people that applied? Were these 3-4 applicants that you guys just gave us?
No, we do have others that for the Board of Adjustments, because currently we have, with the 2 resignations that we received, there's going to be 4 people that need to be appointed. However, we did not receive all of the Board of Adjustment applicants until after we had done the first interviews. And so we tried to schedule another interview process before we came today. However, with schedules and whatnot, it just wasn't able to be worked out. So we are going to continue with those interviews for Board of Adjustments, because we also need someone else for historic alternate, as well as a possible parks alternate, and then, well, no, our EDC is taken care of. Yeah, so that's what we're currently in the need of filling right now.
Yeah, I would love to have that posted so that that can be shared throughout our community, so we can let people know there's 2 positions on this board, there's 1 opening on this board, there's 1 opening on this board, so that we can make sure that it's being reached to the best of our ability, so that we're reaching within our own areas, and so is the city, so that we don't have anybody come back later saying, well, we didn't know about this. And that's what I had people tell me the first time that this happened,
So
4
would
or
it-
5 months ago.
Would it be beneficial if we, as the subcommittee, came up with a particular template and we share it with everybody, and then each council person be able to post it to their social media pages, as
yeah.
well as maybe the city putting it
yeah.
on the
I mean,
social media?
Absolutely.
Personally,
I would
I've
love
posted
that.
it several times.
Yeah.
Katie's called me out on, hey,
Yeah.
we don't have that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it says we do, so, yeah.
Yeah.
I have some questions.
Oh,
I had questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, in the past, we have gotten a list of the members of each committee, and it shows their council district, which place they're representing. Sometimes you don't have someone in one district, so you have another. That helps us keep balance on the committees so that we don't have 5 members all from District 1 or District 5. Well, we don't have District 5 anymore, District 4. We don't have every member from the same district. I don't know who's on these committees right now. We didn't get that list. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is, was this everyone who was interviewed?
currently for the Board
And
Board
was
of
this everyone
Adjustments.
did you interview everyone who applied prior to the first interview round?
For Board of Adjustments, yes.
Okay. The purpose, from my understanding and the conversations that we had when we created this subcommittee, was that it was for the subcommittee to do the interviews, to give us a summary of everything that they had done, every interview, and then provide recommendations. It wasn't to appear as though, I'm not saying y'all did this, but this is how it appears, is that people were cherry-picked, interviewed, and only the ones that you want are provided to us. I know that's not what happened, but that, I want to make sure that that is not what it looks like moving forward. So in the past, we have gotten the list of all of the committee members by district that show where they're at and what vacancies we have. Then we got a cover sheet that had a list of everyone who applied and which committees they had applied for. And then we had the recommendations, like, hey, we recommend these people. We interviewed all these people, whatever. We also, as a council, were emailed all of the applications beforehand. So even if we weren't on the interview committee, we could read it. So it's really hard, like Marissa was saying, I would have advertised if we had positions, didn't know. We used to get that list of vacancies. Didn't know, so I didn't post it. But I don't want this to turn into something ugly. We've had drama on
All
committees
right,
before.
first of all, I would like to thank the
Or I could finish my
interview. Well, we already heard that part. I would like to thank the interview committee for what work they have done, the scheduling of the interviews, the reviewing of the applications, all of the work that they were requested to do. And so I would like to thank you all for that. I know that you are doing a good job in what you are trying to accomplish. And I think that I clearly hear that there are some suggestions that could benefit transparency for the council in that regard. And so what I think might be an advantageous way for us to approach this in terms of policy would be to go ahead and write those informations out, send them to Valerie. Valerie can distribute them to the council in its entirety, and we can move that forward in that regard.
I do have a question. Councilwoman Cunningham, is this written down anywhere? I mean, I get what was historically done, but the guidance that we've reviewed, it doesn't have all of that process that you're referring to.
No.
Oh, okay, well,
No, it was not written down, and that was one of the, we had talked about another subcommittee, about the subcommittees kind of needing policies written, and I just think we haven't gotten to that point yet. So that was going to be my recommendation, was to kind of put together a policy with a list of
We
things.
definitely have spoken about that, but right now, a couple of our boards have some vacancies that are very serious vacancies. The Board of Adjustments is one of them, which is why we're talking about it today. We realize that there are things that are not done. We will make it better before we leave.
And I appreciate what you're saying, and it is a learning process. So I think the most appropriate way to do that is to go ahead and send those things in writing to the city secretary so that they can be distributed to the council, and we can put that policy in place for you on the next agenda. Would that be okay?
Can I make a recommendation, please, Mayor?
Certainly.
I know we desperately need the Board of Adjustments. That's one, and otherwise they're not going to make quorum for their future meetings. But, and I hate to say this to the applicants that are here, why not?
I think you went through the process. We had a process. We stated the process to the public and to the council. I think we move to the next section and have that discussion, and to the next session and have discussion. Otherwise, the agenda becomes a moot point and we just reign with chaos. So while I hear the issue at hand, this was set up by the council to be done in this fashion, and I think it should continue in that fashion. And if they cannot make a decision, they can deny or not make the motion.
Okay, thank you.
That would be my suggestion.
We were given these literally at the beginning of the meeting. So you're asking council to make a decision, but if we're going off of a recommendation, not even a full list of who was interviewed or who applied, we're being asked to vote for or against what 3 people have decided is the best choice. We aren't given a decision.
I mean,
You are given the decision to deny.
But I'll say, even last time you guys did this, they were still emailed to us, not given to us at this time. It wasn't, I mean, we had a couple days so that we at least had some time to look through them, not like you had already called the meeting and then we had like another application dropped to us. So I think that's the issue, like, for this. And I mean, it's on here for discussion action, so that doesn't mean you have to take action. It's either or. So I think we're having the discussion on this.
And I want to, I notice on the online agenda, usually when there's attachments to things, I realize that actually, I did not realize that y'all didn't have everything. So I think that would have been helpful if it was uploaded to that, and that way, so I apologize that if it didn't feel transparent, that wasn't even the aim here. That was, right. No, but I can see what, no, so I completely understand where you're coming from, because as I logged on, being that we have been working through this entire interview process, it's taken more than a month, and it takes a lot of coordination and everything. So, but no, I completely understand where you feel things were not transparent. I myself had requested for our usual special meeting ahead of the council meeting, but then it was placed on the agenda for reasons like this, because we need to have separate kind of dialogue, and that way it's not into the meeting itself. So I just wanted to apologize firsthand about that. It wasn't, I think, Valerie, moving on ahead, because the last time all of council did have all the application in this round, they were not given all of that. You have all of that information. That didn't, last time it did not come from the interview subcommittee, it came from the city secretary's office.
So if I could speak, I think this is really the first time that we've been doing this, where we formed the committee and done the hiring. It was done very different in the past, and I think that's where the hiccup is coming, as normally Peggy would, we don't put their applications online because we don't want everybody's personal information, but we would, yeah, and I won't do that, but we would just email all of council. The problem is I'm not part of the subcommittee, so I don't know who they've interviewed or anything, but I can start doing that and just submitting all applications, and then they can, I guess, give me their recommendations or what their plans are, and I can include that with that.
So usually council
moving
receives
forward.
all of the applications, all of council does, along with the absences, and that wasn't done
Yeah.
this time either. But no, but you did provide that to the subcommittee as we were
Right.
preparing to see all the vacancies.
Like I
but
said,
the
it's
rest of
new, so I
council-
think we're all trying to figure out our way
Okay.
through this process. But in the future, we can do that. I'll send out
My
all of the
primary
applicants,
concern is
all
to
of
be
the
respectful to the
vacancies.
applicants that went through the process. That's my primary focus, is that we set it up to have an interface to keep the applicant, the volunteer, treated in a consistent way, and so it's, I mean, okay. So if you want to table it, then you need to make a motion, but otherwise, we can take each component piece as it comes.
I would like to know what y'all would prefer to do.
So just a question on the Board of Adjustments. We had 2 people listed on this recommendation, and then we're told a different one. So who is actually being recommended? Is it all 3?
No, that was my mistake.
Okay.
I had gotten the 2 names mixed up on the notes that I had written down. So, yeah, that's why I included the 2 applicants that I have shown here. Of course, I ran off and didn't bring my little binder with everybody's names, but that is my mistake.
When is the next Board of Adjustment meeting after the 15th?
There's one on June 15th, and then I don't know that there's another one scheduled as of yet. Not one for July, right? So we could possibly appoint the rest of them. I mean, we would be asking to appoint the rest of them in July. And I don't know if that's, what, yeah.
At least they could have.
Yes, but at least they would have a quorum for anything they need to do.
And do you know what places these individuals are in?
The only committee that has places at this point is P and Z. Everything else is, yeah.
And at this present time, P and Z only has an alternate slot missing.
Do we move forward with the Board of Adjustments? I would prefer it, but if you all want to table it, we can table it until August.
The,
Wouldn't it be until July? Like just our-
We're even.
We appoint during even-numbered months.
We can change it, but it is a policy that we do that during that time, and so I would,
due to extraordinary circumstances.
well, to me, they brought forward their candidates, and so to me, they did their work.
And it wasn't just us, just to be clear, it was also the chairpersons on the committees themselves, so it wasn't, and honestly, we leaned heavy on the chairpersons, on all the persons that were interviewed. And so these were like the top picks, and we, like I said, we leaned heavy on the chairperson because they know who sits on their board, they ask those tough questions, they did that, and we asked, who would you like for us to recommend to council? And this was really the way it was done.
I just don't feel like we have all the information. That's
Yeah.
my only problem with it, with interviewing. Like if I was committees without like any of that information.
And I completely understand that these people serve at the leisure of the council. They can be removed at the choice of the council. So I understand where you're coming from in terms of like your communication, but they did do their job. We should move it forward as much as we can, given the circumstances and the people's commitment, time commitment to show up to the interviews and the board of the chairs of the boards and all of that went into it. So
I will make a motion to appoint Mark Bryant to the Board of Adjustment. I know him, so I feel comfortable with that.
Second.
okay.
We usually do them one at a time.
The motion passes. The other person was for Samantha Allen.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for the subcommittee. Was the board chair present for Ms. Samantha's interview? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I make a motion to appoint Samantha Allen to the Board of Adjustments. Was she?
I'm Sherry McDaniel, and I am the chair of the Board of Adjustments. I attended exactly 2 interviews, and that was for Mark and John. I didn't attend any interview for Samantha, nor did I ever see her application.
Thank you for clearing that up. I believe, yes.
And just one more thing.
Summer was-
One more thing while I'm up here. We just had a Board of Adjustment meeting, and we voted to now make all of our meetings the third Wednesday of every month. That was just passed. And it's been determined that the staff will give us a 3-week notice if there's going to be a meeting. And so we're within 3 weeks. We are not going to have a meeting in July. But no, I've only saw for 2 people.
And you said how many vacancies are there in Board of Adjustments? We just removed 2.
Before.
So there's 4 total. We just appointed 1, so we have 3 left? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we do have, I believe, 4 applicants that have submitted.
Okay, so if we table the rest, because we don't have Ms. Allen's application,
Right.
if we table the rest, we should be okay if we table that to the next meeting, if we can
I
bring
would
that
be in
back?
agreement with that. I would feel more comfortable if y'all had all of the information. So, yeah, being that it
Yeah,
wasn't
and we had no idea it
available.
was it was moving. We thought it was,
And
you know.
thank
Hang
you,
on
Sherry,
one
because
second.
we were
We have a
trying to-
policy that we appoint in even months.
Yes.
I would,
Special meeting. So we could do it at the beginning of August, because she said they're not meeting until the third Wednesday, so we could do it at our first meeting in August.
okay, that would be better. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Nope. Okay. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
All right. And go, okay, and continuing?
Okay, I'm going to just switch real fast to Park and Recs. Again, Mark Bryant did express an interest into our Parks and Recs. We are asking that candidates not be put on more than 2 committees at any given time. He is part of the Lions as well as the Grange, and he had a lot of really good ideas on how to kind of help bridge the Historic Committee with the Parks and Recs Committee for some of their issues that are projects that they potentially may come across, as well as bringing the 2 different affiliations that he has to help the Parks Committee to kick off some of their other projects that the Parks is looking to try to do. So at this time, I would like to make a motion to approve Mark Bryant for Parks and Recs.
I second that.
Yeah, I would too.
So we have a motion on the floor to nominate Mark Bryant for Parks and Rec.
This is an alternate position, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And the motion passes.
Yes. The next one is actually Mr. John Neely. He was he was the only applicant for planning and zoning. Ms. Jennifer Graves was there at the interview. He listed planning and zoning as number 1. We do have an alternate spot available, and we like to make the recommendation to appoint Mr. John Neely to P&Z.
I did put his application on there.
How many members on P and Z are currently from District 3?
There are 3.
There are 3 already on there, so this would be the 4th?
You're right, and this would be an alternate position.
He was the only person who applied.
For
Yes,
P&Z.
For P&Z.
That was interviewed
As-
because we got an application after
The interview.
for another possible P&Z interest.
My hesitation with this is District 3 is pretty landlocked. There's not a lot of development happening in District 3. District 4 is all land, open land.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that District 4 has a good amount of representation, specifically south of 78. Because all of this development that we're hearing about, that we're having all these endless meetings about, is happening down there, and they're the ones that are going to be most impacted by it being in their backyard. So that's my thing. We also had discussed, when we had 7 districts, we had 1 per district on the major committees. Now that we only have 4 districts, it makes it a little trickier. But I don't know that we've ever updated our policy on that to say only a certain percentage can be from the same district.
Right. And so that's the issue with, like, if we're moving forward with the,
Sorry, I need to backtrack. I was thinking EDC, not P and Z. On EDC, there's only one other person, because that is district-specific. It's EDC, there are 3 currently on EDC. That was, yeah,
How many currently are in District 3 on P and Z?
1.
Just one?
Yes.
Okay.
but currently we do not have a policy in place. It would be something that you may want to put a policy in place for, in which that would be appropriate to send to the city council for us to put a policy criteria in place for those positions.
Absolutely.
And remember, these folks serve at your leisure. If you feel that you have applicants from 4 that you would like to trade it out, but these folks have come to the meetings and been interviewed by, well, with the exception of the BOA, evidently, the chair had interviewed.
Okay, I want to make a motion for John Neely for planning and zoning. Alternate.
Alternate. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for John Neely to be placed as an alternate on the Planning and Zoning Commission. So the motion passes for John Neely to be placed as an alternate on the Planning and Zoning Commission. All right, so the next, do you have another one?
This also, out of all the applicants, this one, also, Mr. David Peterson rose to the top. He is the COO of Goodwill and also is a proud, we're proud of his business in Macos. Is very successful here in Cibolo. He's very business-minded. He has served as president of the EDC board in the past, and he has a lot of knowledge to contribute. He understands tax abatements, tax incentives, and being that we are growing, we were so happy to receive his application. And with also the recommendation of the EDC president, we were all in agreement that his application rose to the top, and tonight we would like to make the recommendation for Mr. David Peterson to be nominated for the EDC board.
Okay. Are you making a motion, or is,
I'd like to make a motion for Mr. David Peterson to be appointed to the EDC board.
And I second that.
any discussion?
Same for this, he was the only person who applied for EDC.
No.
No, but he was the applicant that the chairman and the rest of us applied that rose to the top.
How many other?
We did actually have 4 other individuals that were interviewed. Samantha Allen was one of them, but Board of Adjustments versus P and Z. Mark Allen was interviewed.
And Mr. McDaniel.
Yeah,
Mr. Rance McDaniel.
I see that this applicant's from District 2. How many people from District 2 are on EDC?
I would also like to point out that his business is on 78.
Right.
Okay.
Currently, there's no one from Place 2 on EDC
Okay.
because Place 2 put in a Place 3 applicant.
He's 4. Okay. No, he's 2. He's downtown on that side. Okay, I'm good with that.
I have a motion to place Dave Peterson on the EDC. And the motion passes. Mr. Dave Peterson is placed on the EDC. Pardon? Yes.
And I would just like to say that we will make sure that all of y'all's suggestions, ideas are going to be discussed further and brought to y'all prior to our August meeting.
And I also ask that you write it down, let us know what it is.
And also, I would like to thank each and every one of the applicants that came in and spent their time interviewing to serve the city. We appreciate you. But please continue to stand up in whatever way works for you and your family. And I also want to thank each of our chairs for coming to the subcommittee meetings and participating in those applications. Thank you. And please make sure that you write in any changes that you might like to make in the policy, and I will do my best to get it on the next council agenda for you to make those policy changes. Thank you, everybody, for getting through that. Any further discussion before I move on to 9B? 9B, discussion action regarding the final acceptance of public infrastructure for Olive Garden, one of my favorites, Cibolo Crossing. Mr. Otto.
Good evening. We're here today for final acceptance of infrastructure for Cibolo Crossing Olive Garden. The owner applicant is Babcock Road 165. Westwood Professional Services is the engineer. This is one commercial lot. The plat was recorded in May 12th of 2025. The public infrastructure includes 714 linear feet of water, valued at $109,456.70. We did do a punch walk on this one. We've provided a punch list with one item on it. They addressed that one item. Therefore, I am recommending final acceptance of infrastructure.
Okay, any questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the final acceptance of public infrastructure for Olive Garden at Cibolo Crossing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the final acceptance of public infrastructure for Olive Garden. Uh-oh. The motion passes. I did not see he left. All right, 9C, discussion action to approve funding in the amount of $1,300 to the Parks and Rec Commission for America's 250th celebration. Councilman McLaughlin.
Mayor, since he stepped away.
I'm going to go
There he
ahead
is,
and
there he
hold.
is.
I'm going to, okay. 9C, discussion action to approve funding in the amount of $1,300 to the Parks and Rec Commission for America's 250th celebration. Councilman McLaughlin, sorry, I did not.
Thank you, Mayor. So this just follow up from last council meeting. We gave direction to staff to go ahead and proceed with the banner, even though we, at the last meeting, did not have the proper amount. Does anyone on staff have an update on how much we actually spent on this? Ms. Hernandez.
Mayor and council, good evening. So currently we have the banner under production. The total cost they quoted us was $1,640. They did not request a deposit. We have the $500 from last council meeting that we were authorized, so we would need the difference. We added a little bit of a buffer there in case they would need additional funding for the graphic component. We're still working on the concept to ensure that it is the right graphic, since we are paying a significant amount of money for this banner. I want to make sure it represents the desires of the council, the Parks Commission, and it is what we'll be proud to put out there on the road.
Thank you, ma'am.
I would like to make a motion to approve the funding in the amount of $1,300 to the Parks and Recreation Commission for America's 250th celebration.
I second that.
Have a motion and a second to approve the funding for the banner for America's celebration. And the motion passes. I'm looking forward to seeing the banner. Do we know when it will be installed?
Mayor, we are working on that. We are anticipating towards the middle of next week.
Oof,
To get it out
exciting.
there.
The middle of next week.
But
All
we're
right.
working on that.
All right, thank you. 9D, discussion action, on Main Street Sidewalk Project, approval of the preferred design concept for submission to Union Pacific Railroad and authorization to request a design variance. Ms. Hernandez, good evening and welcome again. Look at all the exciting agenda items.
Good evening again. So, Mayor, if, let me pull up my PowerPoint presentation. I'll find it. Council. It's not up there, so. Tracy, can I find it? I loaded it. There was one. I loaded the presentation with the agenda. Yes, on my drive.
We can come back to this item. Let me circle back to this item. All right, moving to 9E, discussion action on public engagement survey regarding the solid waste services, Mr. Reed and Ms. Perez. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you. So at the May 26th council meeting, council directed staff to develop a survey assessing customer satisfaction with our city solid waste services, Waste Connections. Since then, staff, including finance, utility billing, communications, and the city manager's office, have prepared a customer satisfaction survey both for residential and commercial. We customized the baseline survey provided by the City of Schertz, who just recently also went through the same process, to align directly with our vendor Waste Connections, ensuring it addressed the specific needs of our residents and businesses. The survey serves as a pulse check to identify where we can improve education and community outreach, ensuring residents are fully aware of all services available under the current contract. It allows us to cross-reference community feedback with monthly reports from Waste Connections, ensuring alignment between resident experiences and vendor reporting while creating constructive dialogue. Our team extended the survey's reach to include not just residential, but commercial and construction account holders, as we value their feedback just as well. And since transitioning from in-house billing to contractor-managed billing from commercial accounts, the city has less direct visibility into commercial issues. This survey gives business owners and contractors a platform to share what is working and what opportunities for improvement are needed. We are leaving the survey open for a full month versus 2 weeks to ensure all residential and commercial account holders have ample time to participate. By gathering specific feedback on individual services such as garbage, recycling, hazardous household waste, and bulk pickup, we can look at the bigger picture to identify reoccurring trends or route-specific issues. And ultimately, these insights will help us steer collaborative efforts with Waste Connections to ensure all account holders receive high-quality service and consistent service. So tonight, we're here to receive feedback from council. In your packet, you had questions for residential, and you had questions for commercial. So your feedback and any questions you have for Mr. Reed and I are open for discussion.
Okay, any questions?
Would y'all consider doing a 45-day rather than a 30-day, just because it's summertime and there may be weeks, just with the summertime, everyone being busy, going on vacation, getting kids to summer camp or whatever it is, but usually during August, everyone is getting settled back in, and maybe adding 2 more weeks to August 15? Would that be a consideration, or is there a specific reason only in July? I understand if it's completely clean and cut for July.
Maggie Patterson in utility billing and Jeanette and Mr. Reed, myself, and Anna discussed the time frame for 30 days. I don't believe there was a specific hard, we have to kick it off in July. So if council's feedback is pushing it to
We're
a different.
not pushing it, just
Okay.
adding 2 more weeks, making
Adding
it
2 more
45 days
weeks.
instead of
Okay.
30 days. It gives more ample time for residents as they're vacationing at summertime.
I
July's
don't
pretty
think
busy.
staff would have an issue with that, ma'am.
Okay,
at all.
that'd be my only recommendation. Thank you.
I have a question for under educational. There's one that says like, how do you stay up to date on information? For your other selection, is that going to be like an open text box where then they can type in where the other is that they're finding information from?
We will have text box for additional information in certain areas of the survey.
Yeah, I see that like under each
Can
section.
you repeat which one you were speaking about?
Yeah, it's question number 20,
Residential or commercial?
educational.
Oh, on the residential.
But on the
Yeah, on the residential survey.
Okay. We will make sure to add a comment box there. for
Yeah, just
additional
so
information.
anyone, we know like where people are getting information. And then I would suggest too, like when you have the survey up, like whichever platform, like on the start and on the end, have the direct link so people can go directly to like our waste management services as well, because we will, I'm sure, have residents that said, I didn't know where it was or any of that. So if we can provide it at the beginning and at the end, that's just really good for survey management. Awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate this. It'll be a good way to collect some data.
Yes.
Any other questions? I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the commercial more so than the residential, are these going to also go to folks that have dumpsters?
I'm gonna let you answer this one. Are you saying dumpsters that are registered strictly through Waste Connections, or an account holder that has a roll-off through the city?
No, I'm talking about a dumpster as their trash receptacle. So one of the questions that I would have for the commercial component of it would be in, especially for ones that have like messy trash cans or trash receptacles like dumpsters, like how often are those trash receptacles cleaned or traded out so that you get a clean receptacle versus that would just be a question that I have for the commercial aspect of it.
Okay.
So, yeah, this survey will go to every registered commercial account.
Yes.
Yes.
If they are not registered through the city with their solid waste services, we're not going to be sending it directly to them.
Right, but it should include every commercial business in Cibolo.
Okay, because I was just looking at it from the standpoint of, do they clean their own trash cans? Do they get a trade out in their agreement of trash cans? Something along the side of smell abatement, right? Because we don't want to see it, we don't want to smell it, right? We want it to be in the receptacle. So that would be my only concern towards the commercial end. I think most residential folks can either pressure wash it or hire one of the trash can cleaning companies that come by. But in the commercial aspect, I think it might be, I would have a question about that.
I would say that we could ask the question of Waste Connections at our follow-up meeting with them.
Yes,
on how
I
they
think-
provide cleaning services for those roll-offs.
That, yeah, whatever way that they do that, that
But
would be.
again, I want to reiterate what Mr. Reed said. They're not, if they are not registered through utility billing for their solid waste services, but they have a roll-off on their property, Waste that needs to be directly through Waste Connections.
Yeah, I'm mostly looking at places with messy, smelly,
Okay.
or kind of debris that would be in the, trash receptacles and how we overcome stinkiness,
Okay.
because stinkiness is icky. Yeah, so that would be the only question.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
Mr.
All right, so
Mr. McLaughlin, did you have a question?
Real quick. I assume I know the answer to this. Down at the bottom said it's going to be printed on the outside of the bills beginning at the end of the month.
Yes, sir,
I
and you-
assume it will be printed throughout the duration of the survey open period.
Yes, well,
So we have already sent that image that you see on your council cover memo to say survey open in July. So we'll extend it for the 45 days, but that image is not going to change.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure each one of the billing cycles that bills are sent out until the survey closes, there will be a reminder on the envelope for folks to still fill out the survey if they haven't already.
We could send it out for the August period.
It should be one at the end of this month and then one at the end of next month.
In July, there are 2 cycles. Both of those are going to have the same on it. So extending it into July. Yes, both billing cycles will have the image.
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. Any other questions?
No. We need a motion for this, correct? Okay. I move that or do I just read on here? Okay. I move that City Council direct staff to finalize and release the solid waste customer satisfaction survey in July and part of August for a 45-day response period and return to City Council to present the results of that survey.
Second. I have a motion and a second to finalize the trash for survey for 45 days. And the motion passes.
Thank you, Council. Thank you,
Mayor?
Thank you.
Mayor, at this time, we were not planning on that image on the outside of envelopes for August mail out, so just to let you know, I wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Are we going to move back to 9D now? Okay, fantastic. Going back up to 9D, discussion action on Main Street Sidewalk Project, approval of the preferred design concept for submission to Union Pacific Railroad, and authorizing a request a design variance. Ms. Hernandez and team, welcome again.
Good evening, everybody, again. So, Mayor, as you know, we've been working really diligently and hard to get this project to where we are today. A little bit of background: when I arrived here in September, shortly after you got elected, you requested that we bring this item, as this was something that back in the day the city had been working on. So what it is a sidewalk, a safe crossing through the railroad tracks in this very critical area in our community, which is the old town, where we have a lot of our businesses, we have a lot of pedestrian traffic. So we started working on that, and Kimberly Horn, our engineers here, diligently work on it. They have extensive experience working with Union Pacific, and they've done many of these projects in San Antonio. I have that experience working with them. And we went and approached the Union Pacific Railroad, and they said, well, these are the steps. They already knew the steps, so we started working on that. Today, what we're here to ask you is, we are asking you for your direction and approval of the next phase of this project. The first phase was to get a schematic design, get a meeting with Union Pacific, get their feedback, and what we call it a diagnostic meeting. We go out in the field. Union Pacific goes out there with all their 20,000 employees and our consultant and ourselves, and we walk the site, we look at the site, and Union Pacific provides their verbal recommendations, and they let us know if this is a project that has potential to move forward or is something that they would not support, so we would be best not to continue moving forward. But Based on the communication and the meeting, it was very successful. Union Pacific made some comments and provided us some recommendations of how we could develop the options for the design and something that they could support and approve. And that is why we're here today, asking this council to provide us direction if we move forward. And there is a component of a variance as well, so we would be submitting a recommendation and a variance to go with it to Union Pacific for approval. So I'm going to let the consultants provide some general overview of this, and you can ask questions if you have, if you so desire. So this is option number one, and Nolan, if you can get up here and kind of chat, walk council through the option.
For sure. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So like Margarita said, we've developed two options. So option one is the design process that we have to traditionally go through with Union Pacific that meets their design guidelines, what they require for pedestrian crossings. What you'll see is those sidewalk connections are at 90 degrees straight across the tracks. And through that process and the diagnostic review meeting out in the field, you'll notice that on the top side or the north side of the exhibit there, that requires quite a bit of a stretch of sidewalk where you actually turn your back to the tracks. And so due to this design constraint, it causes a need for pedestrian flashers because pedestrians are turning their backs to the tracks. And that does trigger other signal upgrades and requirements. So it requires us to replace the signal cabinet and then therefore replacing all the signal equipment. And as a diagnostic review team, we talked through, the concerns that we have for safety for that. And so it would require pedestrian flashers and other improvements to make sure that configuration is safe. And so if you go to option two that we worked through in the field in that diagnostic review meeting is to skew those crossings. So you can see it's parallel to the roadways. The roadway is skewed with the crossing. And so you would do a similar approach for the sidewalk crossings. Therefore, you don't have to turn your back to the tracks. And because of that, we do not have to include pedestrian flashers and other equipment, which means that the signal cabinet can remain in place, and therefore all the signal flashers can remain in place as well. And so we felt as a diagnostic review team that this is a viable option, both for safety and also for cost and feasibility. And because that deviates from Union Pacific's design criteria, that's where the variance requirement comes into play. So we're recommending option two. It is a viable option for the diagnostic team, but it will require Union Pacific to approve that variance for that design to go through. And in here you see a summary of the cost. Essentially the flat work improvements, the roadway construction subtotal there you see for both options are very closely aligned. There's just a little bit of additional sidewalk with that option one, but you can see the big change in cost comes with that signal equipment that would be required for option one, including pedestrian flasher and all the equipment and gate signal replacement. And so that's the difference in cost and feasibility there for those two options. So as we move forward, we'll send both options to Union Pacific along with our diagnostic meeting notes. That's reviewed, and we have concurrence with Union Pacific on that with the request of the variance for option two. And then it'll go internally for a process for Union Pacific in order to hopefully grant that variance for option two. So that's the option that we recommend, both for safety and for feasibility and cost. So.
Any questions?
I notice on the financial impact, it states that there may be, let's see, should the project receive conceptual approval from UPRR and the city elect to proceed with final design and construction, additional funding will be required for engineering, permitting, and construction activities. How much do you anticipate, because if option two is at $435,000, so then how much more engineering and permitting and construction activities do you expect on top of that?
Sure. So this is just a conceptual layout. This is not design construction plans. That is where we got into contract with our engineers to provide us that overview and the layout so we can submit to Union Pacific. But the construction plans, the design plans, we have not gotten into contract with a consultant. And Nolan, you have an approximate cost, or we don't have it right now?
Yeah, so for the civil work, the city roadway improvements, for both options, they're essentially the same. So design cost for final design, including construction phase services that we could provide to get this complete, is around 60,000 remaining to complete that. Where the contingency comes in, though, is for the signal equipments for Union Pacific. So because it is their equipment, their facilities, and under their control, they'll have to hire a consultant to design the signal equipment. So some of that cost is baked into here, but often the railroad puts that back on the agency and the city. So if the variance is not approved and we have to go with option one, y'all have an agreement with Union Pacific now that allowed them to come out to do the diagnostic review, and that's a hourly not to exceed contract, an engineering agreement. They would likely come back with additional funds required to do the design for the signal as well. And so we don't have any control over that, but I would estimate, 10 to 15% of that cost they would come back and ask for.
I had a question on option 2. It looks like on I don't know what direction it actually is, but it's on the north side in this picture. There's gravel, like a weird piece of gravel around the red piece of sidewalk. What is that?
So that's for, and there's a little bit of gravel there now that's kind of the asphalt's
Right.
kind of old and chopped. So that's to allow access for Union Pacific to stand on something that's a little bit more permanent, to access the cabinet, to open the door and get in there to maintain their signal equipment.
But is there not a need to access it on the other side too?
So the door swings on the roadway side. So
On the other side it does? Okay.
So you're asking about the gravel on both sides of the
There's only
sidewalk?
gravel, on option 2, there's only gravel. Well, I don't,
Yeah,
on
it's
the
right here.
PowerPoint, it's a lot more blurry than on the schematic in our thing. But the gravel stands out quite a bit more on our option 2 sketch file. But there's gravel around the red section of sidewalk, yes, where you're pointing.
Right over here.
I was just wondering why there's gravel on that side, and to access the box makes sense, but wouldn't they need to access the signal on the other side of the street as well?
It's right here. On this side,
so
we don't have a
there,
cab.
it's probably hard to see, but there's a square box next to the gravel. That's
Mm-hmm.
the actual signal cabinet house. And so there's only one signal
Right.
house for the entire intersection.
But then between the sidewalk and the street, there's gravel.
Right.
Yes, and
Is
so-
there a
and
box there?
That red hatch is also for, it's thicker concrete for them to drive on. And so it allows them the ability to drive along their right of way. So they have to be able to drive over that red section of concrete. So it's sidewalk, you notice it's yellow, it's 4 inches, the red is 6. And so they have to be able to drive over that to go along their right of way, along the tracks, as they would work north.
So what about the
So you
gravel
need-
right
Okay,
there?
I see what you're saying now.
So you need drivable surface there. So if you put
So
grass
it's
or
to
sod
get,
there, it
it's
would.
to get them over the sidewalk into the
Correct.
grass?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Okay. So if council approves option 2, would that then be, how long out do you think before UPRR would give you the feedback?
So typically when we send back the diagnostic review meeting notes and the concept and the variance request, typically without a variance, that'll take anywhere from 30 to 45 days to come back, and then we can provide any updates and then move forward with design. For the variance, those can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And so it'll depend on the process that they have to do internally to approve the variance.
Thank you. And then the other question I have is Kimley Horn is going to be, you guys are going to be the persons or the firm that would be designing this?
We would recommend, staff would recommend that we continue with them as they already did the conceptual layout to move forward with design plans.
Okay. And do you know if UPRR has any grant programs or matching dollar programs that would apply to a railroad crossing like this in a district?
Not for this type of work, Mayor. I don't I don't recall seeing anything. Mainly what they have is the Great Separation Roadway, something like that. This type of improvements, they're not very excited about because you are putting pedestrians there in the area where trains pass by, right? So while we are recommending and they will be okay to support it, they're not excited to say, here's some money, go and build more of this.
Okay.
But we certainly can continue looking into that.
Any further questions?
Motion to approve option 2 as a preferred design concept for submission to UPR and authorization to submit a variance request to the applicable UPRR design requirements identified during the diagnostic meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the option 2. And the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 9F is discussion and consideration of a development agreement with Monte Cristo Estates LLC on the proposed Monte Cristo development located on Coy Lane in the city of Cibolo's ETJ. Mr. Vasquez, good evening and welcome.
This is a request by a developer to enter a development agreement with the city on a 14.9 acre tract of property located in the city's ETJ. It's not presently within the city limits. The proposal is for a single family residential development. The development agreement will cover 3 basic areas. One would be reduced or relaxed development standards for site design or lot design. The second would be annexation of the site during the period of the development agreement. And the third is provision for sanitary sewer service. Since the site is outside of the city limits and outside of the city's certificated area of convenience and necessity, or CCN, we typically do not provide sewer service, but in Cibolo you do, so it is not a departure from past practice here in Cibolo. The applicant's representatives are here. They have a handout that they would like to provide the city council to go over the project. Much of the information that I would provide is duplicative. They will present it in their presentation, so I'm going to defer to them. We do have a digital file for their presentation that the audience and the citizens at home would be able to view if we load that up. It's at the discretion of the council if you want us to bring that item up for view or not.
Okay, so what Mr. Vasquez is saying is that this information was not provided in your packet, and nor was it posted to the public, this presentation. So he's saying it is duplicate.
The information that I was going to present is similar to what they're presenting in their PowerPoint, so I just defer to them.
So it is up to council if you would like to have that presentation or have Mr. Ricks. Do I have anybody have a decision about that or feelings? Okay. Just so that the applicant knows that the council may feel that that was not information they had received beforehand and may feel so not inclined to, well, I guess it's discussion and consideration, so I think that would be appropriate. Okay, I think it will be okay.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. And again, there is not expectation of approval tonight. The council can approve, the council can have the item come back. You have plenty of time to negotiate your development agreement.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. You hand it to the city secretary, please. Thank you. It's a lot of Clippies.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Moving slowly, make sure y'all have all those packets handed out. Yeah, we went through a lot of paper there, printing them out. Same presentation that you have up there, and we really appreciate y'all's time and consideration on this project and this item. Just to kind of give you an idea of the layout, where our property is, and what we're asking for, and how we got here. Can y'all hear me all right? We first approached the city probably a little over 2.5 years ago. Had our first pre-development meeting again about 2.5 years ago, and have been working ever since to drill down on the terms, made some major changes to the project, both in terms of the development agreement proposed and the project itself. In short, trying to bring you all the best possible version of this for consideration. Really appreciate all of staff's time and efforts and speaking with us and working with us and providing feedback and making those updates to the agreement, to the project itself, which this project, as mentioned, single-family residential project. It's really a boutique little subdivision. We're only 15 acres right at the end of Coy Lane off of FM 1103, as you see there. Proposing 53 single-family homes, single-family lots. That was a big deviation from what was initially proposed and contemplated, and that was primarily twice as many units. We were proposing a duplex development on 53 lots, wanting to provide really a mix of housing, some new housing options, based on a lot of discussions with staff and feedback. The duplex route was removed from the proposal, from the development agreement, and this will just be single-family homes. Like I said, about 15 acres, really small project, small property, 53 homes, almost 2 acres, 1.8 acres to be exact, of our 15 acres is open space. A large central amenity center, green space. We preserved 100% of the trees and really designed the site around that tree preservation and maximizing open space.
Could I ask you to repeat those two figures again, please?
Yes, ma'am. So 15 acres overall. We have almost 2 acres of dedicated platted open space, green space. That doesn't include detention, but I think more importantly, and I'll show you here in just a second, a large, almost acre piece in the middle to preserve all the existing trees, really provide that central green space, amenity center, and again, preserve every tree on site. I gave you more than you asked for, sorry. 15 acres, 2 acres of open space, and 53 homes. Just to give you I guess, a little better idea, although I know y'all are very familiar with it. To the north is Saddle Creek Ranch, obviously a much bigger development. I think one of their latest units, Unit 9, was much larger than our entire property. That Unit 9 was about 20 acres and 80-something homes. Again, we're only 15 acres. To the south of us is Cibolo Vistas. That just zooms in a little bit more. As I'm sure y'all seen and know, the satellite images can't keep up with the growth. Those homes across the street from us are there. They're up. They're developed. Here is a little snippet of the site, as you can see, and as mentioned, we are in the ETJ. We are asking for voluntary annexation. We want to be in the city of Cibolo. We need sewer service, and we'd like that from the city, but we truly want to be in the city. There you can see some more precise numbers, 14.997 acres, 53 lots. That's a maximum. Those are all single family. Like I said, we've gone through about 2.5 years of discussion and outreach and working with the city just to get to this point. So we are excited to be here. Lots of project changes, like I mentioned, from an initial 106 or more unit duplex project. At one point, we had 59 single-family lots. We've really, again, designed the site, redesigned the site to incorporate all the feedback and preserve the maximum amount of trees and open space, green space. Just really make it a subdivision that fits here, that is desired here, and has the ideal layout. Like I said, we want to be in the city of Cibolo, and we're asking to annex and become a part of the city, first with this development agreement. We do need city sewer, but again, we want to be here, and the project has been designed to city standards, both technical and aesthetically, trying to fit in as best we can. As you can see here, the adjacent nearby developments that I mentioned are significantly larger, hundreds and hundreds of acres. They utilize the now recently repealed SF6 zoning district, so they have those smaller lots. We have a mix of lots. We are asking for a deviation from kind of the standard lot size and related standards, which I'll get into in a second. But really, it's a mix of lot sizes, a mix of home product and design that really creates this unique boutique community. Again, well landscaped along the perimeter, saving trees, providing maximum open space, and really having quality homes, quality development overall. Here is our site plan rendering. You can see the large open space in the middle. That's really where the existing trees were. There's some really nice trees that we wanted to make sure to save them all. And the site was really designed around that. You have an oversized detention in the southeast corner there. That is oversized, kind of over-designed to make sure that not only are we addressing all runoff existing proposed, but then some. We've heard, not nearly as much as y'all have heard, but heard that there are issues in other developments and all through the city with drainage and stormwater and runoff, especially with these recent rains. So great care has been taken to address the drainage, oversize that detention, make sure, again, that we're being good neighbors and trying to fit in. You see the park area in the middle that I mentioned up at the top right, where we abut the Hawk family who've lived there for quite a while. We carved out and created another dedicated open space lot, which will be landscaped, as will all of Coy Lane, our property along Coy Lane, to really buffer from the street, from adjacent development, and again, try to fit in there. You see the 53 detached single-family homes. That's what's in the proposed development agreement. Like I said, this is initially twice as much for whatever that's worth. We have some minimums. So the minimum lot size proposed is 58 by 115 or 6,500 square foot minimum, but that is a minimum. Obviously doesn't meet the 9,000 plus square feet that kind of the nearest existing single-family zoning district that y'all have on the books requires. But as I'll show you in just a second, we have a real mix of lot sizes, and the development agreement calls for that minimum just to provide some flexibility, likewise with the setbacks. Excuse me. As far as impervious cover, likewise, asking for up to 65% impervious cover We've gotten a lot further in our planning. Our impervious cover really is closer to 50%, so significantly less than that maximum allows. The open space, that sticks. That's in the development agreement. There's actually 4 900 series lots, but they are all platted, dedicated open space, amenities, tree save, and detention. And even the detention is open space and can be utilized for amenities, and obviously won't be paved. Will be open green space. Again, 100% tree preservation, oversized detention pond, mix of lots, and really a strategic placement of those open space areas and designing the community around it. These will be private streets, gated community, so streets will be built by the developer, who's a local gentleman here, and maintained by the HOA, as will all the open space areas and all the infrastructure and improvements there. So nothing on the city in terms of imposing road maintenance and similar items there. A little off topic as we're looking at the site plan, but it does show, you can see in kind of the northwest corner, top left, that would be our sewer connection, should the city accept our proposal. It's a short, quick connection to existing sewer that is served by the city in that Saddle Creek Ridge. We are not within any CCN right now as far as sewer. We're right across the street from Cibolo, and Green Valley is just a little bit to our east, kind of off screen. But again, we want to be with y'all. We want to be in the city of Cibolo. Here are the adjacent developments you see with that older, now repealed SF6 zoning, and our piece kind of carved out of the city. We're at the edge of the city here. Again, would love to be in. And let's see. I thought that looked familiar. I pressed up instead of down. I was like, I think I already did that slide. Sorry. Not very good at computers. Here's a little bit on the infrastructure. Again, annex and zone after the agreement. I think that's a little unique. Typically, you'd have the annexation and zoning along with the development agreement. Here, at staff's recommendation, we'd be deferring annexation and zoning until y'all's UDC revisions are adopted, so we can kind of comply with up-to-date code requirements, potentially PUD zoning as a base zoning, but again, with these slight deviations for the development agreement. Access, I think I already mentioned those, but yeah, gated subdivision, private streets, 50-foot private streets, a fire-safe community, even though we're just above the 30 home threshold for a secondary entrance. We just have one entrance, but providing what's called a fire-safe community based on discussions dating back a couple years ago with fire and staff. That's sprinkling the homes and just making sure that it is a fire-safe community.
Can you define fire-safe community? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Now I know how to go back there. A big piece is requiring all the homes to have sprinklers installed. So they kind of each have their own fire suppression system, for lack of a better term. The code requires any subdivision over 30 homes to have secondary access. Here we are such a small site. We just have the one large access into our community. And that fire-safe community, again, comes primarily with the requirement to install sprinklers in each of these homes at a pretty significant added cost, but obviously provides a even more significant protection for the homes, for the city.
Thank you.
Did I actually answer your question? Okay. But again, flexibility, I'll try to pick up the pace a little bit here, so maybe we'll skip over this. But the development agreement provides us a little flexibility, but we're also very firm in what we're proposing. We're not asking for more lots than our 53. Just the deviation in lot sizes, and a minimum there. Again, I'll show you the actual lot sizes throughout. Private streets, all those things. And again, we want to be in Cibolo. We need sewer, whether that be from Cibolo or Green Valley, but we want to be in Cibolo, and we think we've designed a community that really fits into the fabric of the community here, and we hope y'all agree. The development agreement, again, provides for voluntary annexation, gives the city control, certainty on what this project could be. If we stayed in the ETJ and sought sewer service elsewhere, we could do something a lot more dense, a lot less landscaped, just a lot more free reign, so to speak. But we're willing to accept city requirements because, again, we want to be in the city. And among many other benefits, we believe it gives the city some, again, control, some certainty, and of course the tax base as well. The deviations from the code that we're asking for really are required primarily by the desire to save those trees, provide open space, and design this community that is as best as it can be. Flexible, for the boutique subdivision that is really integrated into the fabric of Cibolo. Here you have your comprehensive plan. We've really taken that to heart, trying to preserve that small town feel and provide a balanced development, which we believe we do here. This is a shot of the comprehensive plan, the future land use plan, but you also see the major thoroughfare plan, which is important. Sometime in the near future, hopefully sooner than later, Coy Lane will be extended all the way out to the east and connect to Wheel Road. You also have two of those north-south collectors that you see as dotted lines that really help traffic flow in this area. Now, again, our impact is very small, being only 53 homes and kind of at the end of the road. We are providing 15 feet of dedication to Coy Lane for that expansion, and again, hope that we will be able to drive east in the near future when the remainder of Coy Lane is built out. Here's back to the site plan. Again, mix of lot sizes. You have your open space, your trees, like 15 feet of right-of-way dedication along Coy Lane. And really, it's a compatible transition from those larger existing single-family subdivisions, single-family homes. You can kind of see it on the aerial to the south there. We're equal to or larger than those homes, but have a community that, again, preserves the max amount of trees, adds a whole lot of landscaping, designed to be compatible with the city and the city's vision. Really, again, took great care to try to fit into the city and to fit into the immediate area, buffer our neighbors, provide landscaping, just be the best project and the best neighbors that we can be here. Here's some more detail on the lot sizes themselves. Like I said, the development agreement calls for a minimum lot size of the 6,500 or those certain dimensions, but we really have a variety of lot sizes and have intentionally placed larger lots along Coy Lane. And I guess to back up a second, the orange color, those are lots that are over 7,000 square feet. And then the blue is our open space areas. Those orange lots, again, over 7,000 square feet. Our largest lot is well over 12,000 square feet. Now, our smallest is about 6,600, but again, our largest is about 12,400 square feet, and there's a range of lot sizes in between. We made it a point to max out the lot sizes and provide the largest lots along Coy Lane, since that is what is visible. Also have some in the interior of the site, but more importantly, along Coy Lane, significantly larger than surrounding nearby residential subdivisions, and again, just wanted to provide the largest lots where it's visible to other citizens. Those lots are 7,700 square feet up to the 12,000 you see on the western end.
What's the road frontage on those lots?
I'm sorry?
What is the road frontage on those lots? The width?
They vary, and our engineer, Bjorn Benches, is here, and before I misstate those, he may want to chime in, but...
Hello, good evening. My name is Bjorn Benches. I'm the civil engineer from Concept Ascend, and I'm the one who basically came up with this concept plan a couple years ago. But to answer your question, the minimum lot frontage for each lot is 58 feet, and they increase depending on the location around the site to, I think the widest lot is probably around 75 feet or so.
A road frontage is 75 feet?
Of road frontage along the interior streets, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, say
Are you
that.
talking about the lot width or how much of Coy Lane we have?
I'm trying not to say lot width because that's a zoning classification. I'm trying to ask you the road frontage of those lots.
Yes, the minimum lot frontage of any lot is 58 feet.
Okay, and what is the orange ones?
The orange ones, those are also 58 feet minimum, but some of them are longer than others. That's why they're bigger lots, is due to the length.
Okay, so they're deeper.
Yes, ma'am. And then those corner lots are extra wide, just to have the houses set back a little bit from the street on the front and the sides, just to make it feel a little bit more open.
Okay, so all of the lot road frontage is 58 feet.
Yes, the only exception would be the irregular lots like on the cul-de-sacs. Now,
Correct.
Those are the lots that are also bigger, like 12,000 square feet, but with less frontage.
I understand that.
Okay.
And you have to abide by the rules of access for the driveways and all of that. I understand in the corner lots, it's a little different. Okay.
We actually, on those Coy Lane lots, which I'm looking at, I should have brought my magnifying glass, but I think some are 63 to 65 feet of frontage.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can read that better.
I think that's correct.
Sorry, the small print.
Yes,
doesn't
the
do
minimum
well.
frontage with the rear facing Coy Lane is 65 feet, with the maximum being 147 feet.
And those numbers come from our plat, which Bjorn has been working on here for a couple of years with the city. So wanted to look at those numbers.
And you know why I'm
again,
asking
small print.
You know why I'm asking you that question?
I don't want to assume. I'm not exactly sure. I'm sorry. I'm not sure why you're asking that question.
Because in the ETJ, the minimum lot width is 60 foot of road frontage or vehicular access from an alleyway. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay.
Yeah, and good question. Sorry, we fumbled through that answer there. But we, kind of like the lot sizes themselves, we do have a mix of frontage there. Sizes, again, from 58 to 65 and even larger on some of those lots. But
So first, I want to thank you for bringing this to us, and I want to thank you for wanting to be a good neighbor and partner with the city of Cibolo. So before I begin asking any questions, are y'all wrapped up and ready for council questions?
yes. I have a few more slides, but I know
Okay.
I've already
No,
talked
go ahead, please.
way too long, so I feel like I should hand it over.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Well, I will try to move very quick. Benefits, again, we feel like we provide a lot of benefits. I think I've mentioned a lot of those. So I will keep moving. more importantly, here's what the homes will look like with this plan. Coventry Homes will be our sole builder. They will build every home on the 53 lots. Mix of housing types. You see the range in sizes and prices from smaller 2,000 square foot home up to the over 3,000 square foot home. Here's some of the renderings of these various homes that will be in the community. All of them will be 75% to 100% masonry exterior. Well designed, good looking homes. Flipping through some of these, you can kind of see the mix, and again, a real attention that you probably can't tell in these renderings, but the homes themselves, not just being masonry and quality construction, but really designed and built to fit into the community and the area. There we go. I did get through those last slides quicker. So yes, happy to answer any questions. Again, Bjorn, our engineer, he's been hard at work on this project for years, and hopefully between the two of us, we can answer any questions you may have, and really appreciate y'all's time and consideration.
Okay, I'll start with you, Jeff. Do you have any questions?
Not questions, more just general observations. Looking through here, pros, the annex, that is revenue, brings us customers to our sewage. The fact that it's going to be maintained as private, which is great because our road budget is not. I do have concerns about the one entry access point. I understand fire safety, but with the expansion of 1103, my concern is traffic backing up on Coy Lane because there is no traffic signal there. And then folks having only one way in, one way out of home. My other observation, I guess, is this is a deviation from our density. I understand you're in the ETJ currently. If we annex you, then that's where the deviation would occur. Entering into an agreement does allow us to at least control some of our destiny as much as we can. I don't have any questions, so just my observations.
Similar observations with like the mitigation measure that they were talking about with the fire safe community is still have an issue with there only being one entry or exit for egress in that neighborhood. And then looking to add, I don't know, anywhere 50 to 100 plus vehicles on that road with no planned stoplight right there at Coy Lane, and with the expansion happening just right across the street too, even adding more. I know that residents have voiced their concerns about there not being a light right there and turning in and out. So those are two concerns that I have.
I think y'all did a great job. It definitely looks like you paid attention to stuff that council said about other neighborhoods, and you tried to address a lot of that. The entry exit, the one entry exit is a concern. It's a concern with every neighborhood that tries to do that. Is there, you may consider, or there might be an option, I know our future thoroughfare plan does not include a road anywhere around this particular plat, but if it does get developed in the long run, that lot at the very entrance, not I can't read it, it's so tiny. It's a park lot, just an empty lot at the entrance. If that could shift a little bit down mid-road or somewhere where that could be a potential connector road in the future, that may be an option that would, while you don't have a place to have that second exit right now, it would give that opportunity if the land next to it gets developed. If not, it's a dead end. But if so, then that does give that second connection. I had something else.
Can I chime in? I haven't thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. That was one of our considerations. So a lot of municipalities like San Antonio, their minimum lot count before they require the second point of access is 125. In Cibolo, I understand, you're more concerned about that. Our original, design had 106 duplexes, and now we're down to 53. I I guess to piggyback off what you were saying about that northwest corner, that's currently a utility easement that could be in the future paved as a emergency egress driveway or something like that. If the need is, something that is determined in the future, that's something that could be retrofitted in there. One of the reasons why we didn't provide a secondary access now is because we didn't want a second intersection so close to that Saddle Breeze to the west. It would be a traffic conflict having two intersections offset that close. So we really tried to design a wider entrance. That entrance coming into the gated area is extra wide. The gate will be set back about 100 feet or so. So it allows for, 5 cars of stacking if needed. So you won't have cars backing up onto Coy Lane. And we tried to engineer it in a way that it's actually better than having a secondary access with just the one access.
Okay.
And then with, the fire safe community, we'll have the NFPA pumps at each house. So it'll be probably even better than what it would have been.
Okay.
So.
And then my other question might be more for staff. I know in the past, way, way past, when we first started 1103 back in the Stone Ages, the light schedule or the light map of where all the stoplights were going to go, there was one scheduled for Coy Lane. And I know I've asked about that several times, but I just want to confirm, are we getting a light at Coy Lane or no?
There is no light scheduled at Coy Lane at this time. It is not in the scope of FM 1103 Phase 1.
Okay. We did just get a connection to Green Valley via Cowboy Knoll and back through that other neighborhood. I can't remember the name of it. Grace Valley, it's not Cibolo Farms? Cibolo Farms. So there is a connection now to Green Valley Road out Cibolo Farms. I know one of the biggest concerns for all of us has been Coy Lane only has one exit. It only goes to 1103. We had a power line down a few years ago. Everyone was stuck. So now that we have that second exit, I feel a little bit more comfortable. I'm still nervous about having a neighborhood without a second exit, as well as additional traffic on that street without having a stoplight. 53 homes is much smaller of a traffic footprint, so I appreciate you taking that into consideration as well.
Well, thank you. And real quick, the kind of stub out on the east side is an excellent idea, and I think we can find a way to incorporate that, as well as the potential for future egress across that sewer easement in that northwest corner.
Yes.
I also had concerns regarding the ingress egress, just because we have that problem currently right now, and especially when it rains heavily in 1103, the traffic does stack up there. So just to piggyback off everyone else, that is my main concern. I also do have a concern regarding the impervious coverage increasing to 65%. I do notice that these houses are going to, also by your request of the setback lines being reduced considerably, I feel like these houses are going to be really large on these smaller lots. And you pinpointed your demographic, maybe retirees, and maybe that is who it's tailored to. But the flooding aspect, the drainage aspect of this community is something that concerns me. And we have certain little enclaves like this within our city just as well. And sometimes that water pools in other people's yards. As far as the impervious coverage increasing, that's a concern. I also did have a question regarding the private streets. I noticed that there was no land study on the streets themselves. Is there a reason why the land study was waived?
As I understand it, the land study would be required if we were doing public streets, but was not required for the private streets. And then real quick on the impervious cover, the 65% was requested when we were earlier in our design phase, and again, meant to provide flexibility. If it helps, we're absolutely willing to reduce that number down in the development agreement to 60 or even 55 to be closer to our number, which again is closer to 50, but we still need a little wiggle room to address sidewalks and items like that. But yeah, will be significantly lower than that 65 that's mentioned.
do have an
And
additional thought.
completely understand your concerns.
Mayor,
So our detention
Mayor.
pond, as it's currently designed, will, mitigate the runoff back down to pre-existing drainage conditions. And that's sized for 65% impervious cover. So, we could leave it as designed that way, but if we decrease the maximum allowable impervious cover to, let's say 60%, like James is saying, we would have that extra 5% of buffer even better than what's currently out there to help actually reduce flooding, not just mitigate what we're doing. So that might help out a little bit.
And I know you didn't ask for this, so sorry we keep adding on, but another thing to point out is particularly the homes on this site plan really meant to show kind of the max building footprint. So they could be large lots, but with the range of, large homes, but with the range of home sizes and the range of lot sizes, the larger homes would obviously fall on the larger lots, and even that largest home of Coventry's, it would be right around 50% or less of the size of our smallest lot if it was on there, if that makes sense. So there's more open space and room on the lots than the plan may show, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But thank you for those comments. I completely understand.
Well, obviously, all of us are concerned about this one entrance in and out, so I think that needs to be addressed a little bit better. But I do have a question as to why you want them to go into 5 foot versus 7.5 feet on each side, so a total of 10 feet between each home versus 15, especially in an area where we do have a significant flooding issue. So is there a reason why y'all are trying to go 5 foot, other than this, y'all are trying to get a bigger home on there at a higher cost point?
So the original 5-foot setback was based on the original duplex proposition, and those would be 48-foot duplex buildings on a 58-foot lot. That's the minimum lot size you need for duplexes with 2-car garages. So that's what kind of necessitated the 58-foot lot originally. But then the project got revised to single family only. I think in reality, with these floor plans that are being proposed, it would actually be a 7.5-foot side setback on each lot. So it would be a total of 15 feet between the houses, but we still have the 5 foot in there just for a little bit extra flexibility. But I think in reality, it would be more like 7.5 feet in real life.
Who took it from a possible duplex into single family home? Was that y'all or was that the city?
I believe it was the city's preference for us to, eliminate duplex and move towards single family instead.
Because we need the multi-use, I mean, a price point that's, no offense, Cibolo has a lot of homes that are $450,000, $500,000, $600,000. But you want a retired couple or an elderly couple to move into these homes. Well, they're not going to move into a 2-story home. They're not going to be able to move into a home that costs $600,000. They're not going to want all this land. So I think your demographic there might be slightly off. I'm just
that's a good thought. So Coventry Homes, they did their own market analysis, and they believe that their target market for these houses is more like retired military, and more than likely they'll be buying 1-story houses, but still a nicer house to retire in. And that's part of why we have that centralized park right there, is so we could have like open wrought iron fencing on the backyards and have that sort of sense of community. So that even though it's not officially a retirement community, they think that's who is actually going to buy these houses at that price point.
And you're also looking for a variance on the front, the 20-foot building setback length to go to 20 foot.
We're keeping 20 feet.
However, most cars are what, 15 feet
About
long?
18 feet long.
So that means literally if they don't park right in their garage or right in front of their garage, they're going to be sitting on a sidewalk.
Well, it's actually...
So that becomes an issue because especially if you have multiple people, a retirement community that you're trying to perhaps go to that's going to be walking. Cibolo has a lot of walkers, dog walkers, whatnot. So, now you're going to have disabled individuals and you're going to have a challenge that you're going to have to face there as well.
So the good news is it's actually 20 feet from the front of the garage to the property line, but then it's another 11 feet from the property line to the street. So you actually have a few extra feet before that becomes an issue. So you really have probably about 25 or 26 feet of driveway before you cross the sidewalk. And we always try to make sure to account for that so you don't have cars, going across the sidewalk.
Okay, thank you.
I think they pretty much addressed most of all of our combined issues, but so Coventry is over in Foxbrook, right? That's, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it projected to look like that, be similar to that look, or is that, or just about?
Yep.
Okay, because there's a mix there as well. Okay.
It'll be similar, but with masonry on all four sides instead of three sides.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit nicer.
I'm just trying to visualize it, you guys. I'm a visual person.
Sure.
Okay, and same issues that they had, the flooding, where we already have flooding issues and drainage issues is a really big deal, and the extra traffic and all the other stuff that they said. So, again, I don't have any questions, just observations. All right.
Well, thank you, and yeah, we certainly understand the concerns, and we really have tried to do our best to accommodate those and address those, again, with, lots of care put into drainage, oversized detention, 2 acres of open space. As far as, some of those numbers, similar to the impervious cover, if 7.5 on minimum on the side setbacks, provides more comfort, we're happy to change that as a minimum in the development agreement.
Okay, so we just had our city engineer do a presentation to our Planning and Zoning Commission saying that the majority of flooding of these houses occur outside of the floodplain, and it's site-specific flooding that causes that. The reason that the city of Cibolo chose the 7.5 as the minimum distance between the two walls from the property line to the wall is because of the site-specific clay that we have here, which would build up and flood the folks' property. You get 8 inches of rain off of, or 6 inches of rain off of a rooftop on gumbo soil, and it's going to stack and then go the sill plate, break the sill plate, and go on in, because water is funny like that. And so that is the reason that we have that in place. It's not just because we're big, tape measure bullies. It's because we have found that to be in the best interest of public health and safety. The lot, in the egress in and out is going to be an issue. That maybe you could have overcome with wider streets that would have allowed a fire truck to I don't know what the fire, that's wise to have access if, we have a fire truck that's trying to go in there and it can't get down the road, that's going to be an issue. And so they could go in the other entrance or leave out the other entrance depending on what the reasons were. So again, not just a stumbling block for you to have to make your way through, but actually an action taken by the governing body to ensure public health and safety in the build out of our community. So so those are some things that are important. And then like every other single solitary developer who has ever come before us, there is always the argument that you cannot possibly do the size lots that we ask in SF4. I don't know if you ever saw Mesa Western, but Mesa Western was in the same situation you are around SF6 homes, and many of the citizens of Cibolos asked us to stop being shove it in Cibolo and cram it in Cibolo. They wanted us to produce for the built environment in our city a more family feel or a more open space feel to the actual residences. And they were like, we're never going to sell that. There's no market for it, yada, yada. And magically, Mesa Western sold and is quite amazing. We were told the same thing on the half-acre lots, and they are getting developed, and I think there are going to be very many content Cibolonians, new Cibolonians, or maybe people that went from their smaller yard to the half-acre lot at Schlatter, in the Schlatter area. So while I understand the business model that Coventry Homes and yourself have taken on, and I deeply appreciate you wanting to come into the city, my question would be the expense to place sprinkler systems in there versus making the lots wider and putting in an additional ingress egress. And I think that should be worked out with something at the city. And also the change in lot, the distance between the lot, the side property line and the building is very critical to meeting one of our very important requirements. And so I think if you're going to bring this back, that should be something that you address in that. So I think that's really all I have to say about that, unless there is some other thing I don't know about legally for the one ingress egress.
You asking Wayne?
I am asking the team of great intelligence, is there some other issue about the ingress egress that, because it was a 7 hard pass.
No, what they've
And
provided.
6, my apologies, 6.
What they provided complies with our fire code, which the UDC references by talking about one entrance up to 30 units, 2 entrances after, and you're above 30 units. So they are complying with the fire code for public safety.
Okay, that's,
May I chime in with one more thought?
please.
So regarding that entrance, I think you mentioned that it would be in our best interest to try to have a wider entrance. We do have that 80-foot right-of-way, which is 30 feet wider than the typical 50-foot right-of-way, to provide that extra wide entrance. And as soon as that entrance comes into the project, it immediately splits into the 2 different streets. So we are kind of indirectly providing 2 different means of access to each of the houses through that one entrance, because the road splits off right after the fire truck would come in. So that was the idea there of the design.
Can you please repeat that?
So, Mayor, I believe your question was there a concern about the one entry into this proposed subdivision, given that it's more than 30 units?
And my question was, is there some other way to manage or handle it aside from just the sprinklers?
Mayor, I
provide
think
a
that
second entrance.
what I heard the majority of the council talk about was accessibility to the site, not necessarily concerns with accessibility for emergency response. They're addressing the emergency response issue by providing sprinklered homes, but that doesn't solve the trip generation and the ingress and egress issues the majority of the council has pointed out.
Yes,
So clearly
that
you're asking for a second access point, and you're asking for the developer to figure out how to design in a second access point into the concept.
Right,
Now,
because
was-
it would do one of 2 things. It would help with the point of impact of the traffic, and also maybe mitigate that other issue. So my apologies, I was trying to encompass the whole of the issue of the one ingress egress into T1, so thank you
Yeah, I
for
would also
that
like to
clarity.
point out, earlier it was said that the private streets did not require a land study. It's actually the opposite way. The private streets will trigger the requirement for the land study. They're requesting through the development agreement not to provide the land study. So that would be one of the things the council would have to agree to.
Right, like we did on the other private streets that were in the city, right? Yes. Okay. So really also, the coming into the city wouldn't, have you done any renderings or market analysis of coming into the city and utilizing the city's existing zoning classifications? And where are those renderings? And, would
We have looked at, coming in without the development agreement, coming into the city with the, I guess, the closest zoning district requiring the little over 9,000 square foot lots. And it doesn't make the community that we want to have. And I know, like you mentioned, every developer has said, well, it doesn't pencil out if you require this much. To us, although the financials are certainly a factor, and this is such a small property, again, only 15 acres, having it designed the way it is, designed to preserve some really nice existing trees, all of the trees on site, have that open space, the trees, the landscaping, the layout that Bjorn mentioned, where we're not just kind of grid streets or a long cul-de-sac or anything like that. A long rambling way of saying, this truly is the best layout, best project we can put together overall. I think we would just probably stay outside of the city and seek sewer service from Green Valley. If we can't come into the city with the lot deviation, but again, we really, truly do want to be in the city. Not to go off topic there, but kind of overall hearing these concerns and the very valid concerns and great feedback, and very, very important. Again, we tried to address everything and kind of guess and plan, and did lots of research and review and everything to come up with this. But we're happy to formally amend our request to increase those side setbacks, reduce impervious cover, or we can, if we could maybe delay to the next council meeting, we could relook at the access issue and just kind of fine tune our proposal.
And that's my understanding, that you're here before us not to take action, but to have a discussion of suggestible changes that you may want to consider. Do you feel that you have received that information that's helpful?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
We thought we were having action tonight, though. But
no, sir. But we appreciate your time. Council, is there any other questions? All right. All right. Well, then you have the things for your consideration, and I hope that you and staff will be able to make some progress. So
Well,
thank you so much for coming.
thank y'all. We really appreciate it. And sorry, my presentation dragged out so long, but this was
Can I
some great
clarify,
feedback.
you mentioned next council meeting. Are you wanting this to come back next council meeting? Or are you going to coordinate with staff?
We can coordinate with staff, but
Okay.
we would like an action item before council as soon as possible, just because it's been a long
I don't
road.
think you want it as soon as possible. I think you want it when you've made a good agreement with, and the best corrective action you could take. The council's given you tremendous amount of good feedback and consideration. I hope that you can take that to heart and produce something that we can then eventually take action.
Absolutely. That was
Thank
very,
you.
very well said.
Thank you.
Much better than mine. Sorry. Well, thank y'all.
We appreciate you coming.
Appreciate
Thank you.
y'all.
9G, updates from CRWA, Councilwoman Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. I did just want to point out that I did give each one of y'all a copy of the preliminary CRWA budget, just because I feel like y'all truly need to know what it is Cibolo spends with CRWA on water, as well as infrastructure and operating and personnel. But again, this is preliminary. We have another budget meeting that is set for July 7th. that we will be going into further detail in regards to this. Because some of it has to also go into play with Alliance Water Authority. So, but we did have a pretty quick meeting that, on the 13th, excuse me, it wasn't the 13th, it was the 8th. And really what was discussed was that they're going to be working on updating the master plan because one of the plans was not even in the previous master plan, which is Hayes Caldwell, but that does not affect Cibolo in any form or fashion. And there's still some discussion, it's kind of staled out some, but some discussion between a subdivision and one of the plants and regarding to a road that is a private use road, but they're wanting CRWA to fix it. And of course, that subdivision's running to county, Congress, all kinds of fun people trying to put political pressure on us, on CRWA to do that, to fix it. There was 3 new board members appointed for the Board of Trustees. And let's see what else. Told you it was a really quick one. We were out of there by 8 o'clock, if not sooner. Oh, in regards to the Alliance that I mentioned, Alliance Water, so that's in a very preliminary budget stage as well, and that would really only affect the special utility districts, such as East Central, Green Valley, for the cost increase that they are looking at in their particular plant that they're wanting to update. Because it's like they have it roughly at like $150 million right now. So, but I just wanted to kind of, something that the mayor and I discussed, in Gonzales County, there was some discussion about them possibly dropping the leases, the acre foot that you could pull out per acre, going from 1 full acre to per acre to going to half an acre foot water to 1 full acre. One of the nice things though, Cibolo's water comes from Lake Dunlap as well as Wells Ranch. It doesn't come, it's kind of a mix of Gonzales, but it's more out of Guadalupe County. And so the leases that are currently outstanding in Gonzales outweigh what would, if that did go into effect, would allow for there to not be a reduction in any water coming into Cibolo. So we would receive our full 2,800 acre feet at any given point that would be required. But Wells Ranch 1 and Lake Dunlap is where our water comes from, and it is pumped into which I thought was really interesting, the Mid-Cities plant, which is right here off of 78, the Wagner booster station, into the lift stations, and it goes into the 1103 tank, as well as the one that's here at the sports complex. So that's kind of where our water pipe pipes through. So I think that's really it. And the Guadalupe County, they have Wells Ranch has 5 wells that come through Guadalupe County that flows out of the Wilcox Aquifer. So I know we discussed that.
I thought Wells Ranch was going to have a reduction in its acre feet.
No, it was only Gonzales County was going to be putting that in place. But most of the water out of Wells Ranch comes from Guadalupe and not out of the Gonzales County. But because we have that 22,000 acre feet that's unleased or unpermitted at this time, we could pull from those leases to not have a reduction in water.
Oh, okay, so they're going to allow us to use the acre from the leases that are not drilled currently?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it is a confirmation from CRWA, just because I was kind of wondering that myself.
Okay, and in the Mid-Cities pipeline, do you know if they did another addition to the Mid-Cities pipeline, or are they going to do an addition to the Mid-Cities pipeline, or a different pipeline altogether?
Can you please elaborate on that a little bit? What do you mean addition?
So
expansion of the pipeline?
Expansion, thank you. That's the word I was not able to come up with.
You know, I don't have the answer for you on that, but I will certainly get that, and I can either email it to you. I will make a phone call tomorrow morning and get this information for you exactly, and call you tomorrow or email you. But you're welcome to email me at any point.
Yeah, I just thought of it.
But why are you
this
asking
afternoon.
about mid-cities? I'm just wondering.
I'm wondering about the expansion of the pipeline. I'm just wondering if, because more and more people are coming into this area, they're going to have to be moving more water through it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I will, and are you looking at perhaps the size of the actual line, trunk line, like the foot, the
Well, if-
inches versus, I mean, what information is it that I can provide that would give you?
Is
what you're
Wells
looking for?
Branch pulling water, traveling water through the Mid-Cities pipeline?
Yes.
Okay. So if Wells Branch is going to have to make up for the reduction in Guadalupe conservation, will there need to be an expansion in the Mid-Cities pipeline?
I see where you're going. Okay. I will get that answer for you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Fantastic. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Roberts. Okay. Moving on to 9H, discussion from council members that have attended seminars, events, or meetings. You want to start, Ms. Brown, or do you want to start? You want to start? Okay. Councilman McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the City Manager's Office for throwing those decorations up at the front entrance. I appreciate it. They look great. Went to the somewhat grand opening of Ace Hardware. Got a new smoker. That was pretty awesome. And other than that, just been working with staff, collaborating, trying to find opportunities for Cibolo.
Good. Okay. I went to the NEP luncheon, River City Ace Hardware, ribbon cutting, did some TML trainings. I did a really good one on crisis communications. I thought was really important. So just really quick to share, they really highlighted that when residents know what to do, they know who to call, they know where to go in case of emergency, that they can make better decisions under pressure, and that when residents have that information in advance, it reduces the demand on our first responders, on the amount of phone calls that are being received, and it allows the city to really allocate those resources where they need to be in a time of a crisis or an emergency. So I thought that was just really good and helpful information to make sure we're informing our residents of where to go, city website, city social media, so they're getting that direct information. And then I also participated in the Raise Your Hand Texas Community Leaders Fellowship. That's it.
I missed the grand opening with the ribbon cutting, but I did attend the grand opening weekend for Ace Hardware, and then have met with some people in different small groups.
Councilwoman Sanchez-Stevens.
I also attended the NEP meeting and also the chamber luncheon. I also attended the Ace Hardware grand opening. That was a lot of fun. And also today I was able to do a little tour of the University Hospital in Retama. They're going to have a community tour coming in January. They're expected to open in February. There's a lot of dust on the floor. There's sheetrock. They're still taping and floating, still getting the ceiling up. But this level 4 hospital is going to be a real game changer in our region. They're going to have just exceptional services, 365, 24/7 for labor and delivery. They're going to have trauma services just as well, operating rooms that are going to be high tech with the most recent technology. I found it interesting that they're actually going to incorporate robotic arms also within the surgeries to help them with that. And so that was fascinating. So I would encourage everyone when the January tour comes in, please attend, or we can also request a private tour and they'd be willing to give us that private tour.
I have not been that busy. I did go to the Ace Hardware grand opening, ribbon cutting. I just had the CRWA budget meeting, and we're again having another one on the 7th of July. And today I had the pleasure of sitting down with our 3 EDC individuals and to discuss a couple of businesses that are looking to join Cibolo or that we want to try to bring into Cibolo. So that was a great little meeting. They have a lot of insight that I didn't even think about. So yeah, that's about it for now.
Okay, I too, NEP luncheon. I did some TML trainings online. I think I still got like 10 days to finish one of them. I also attended the TML in-person training, and I prepared for council just a peer overview of the training. Pass that down. Kind of gave you all the notes on what we did there, and I just wanted to kind of share a couple of brief takeaways. Yeah. From that training. It was, it was called the High Performance Public Leadership Conference. And like I said, there's a more detailed summary right there in front of you. And I did want to say that education is only as valuable as when it's shared. As leaders and stewards of public resources, we have the responsibility to get trained and bring back that knowledge, skills, and perspectives that we gained through that training. And I don't understand why that's not a requirement for public servants, but I digress. No.
We made a policy, yeah.
So if they spend money for us to train, we need to bring it back and
We
like through briefings or something.
We made that a policy last year.
Okay. Well, now we probably just need to enforce, because I think, I mean, it's just a way to make sure that we're using public funds responsibly. So, but throughout the training, in front of you, council, you have like a bunch of notes that I've taken and wanted to bring back to share. But one of the most valuable aspects of this training was when I had an opportunity to participate in some practical leadership exercises alongside our city manager and our chief of police. The three of us were there, and it was really cool because we were able to work through real world scenarios that we are actually experiencing in our, either here in our city or in my personal job, right? I shared some things. There we learned how to effectively communicate with one another, listen actively, and kind of walk through some, I think they called them, forgot the type of questions they were, but they were questions to kind of help us think and not solve the issues. But like I said, in front of you is a brief outline of all of that, and I just really would recommend that you read it because it is some good stuff in there. It talked about our brain and how our brain is wired and how we receive information and what we do with that information that we receive. So, but that was my, you're welcome.
Thank you. First, I would like to say that I want to thank Mr. Reed and his staff for putting together the regional discussion on flood impacts and mitigation meeting that I attended. The Guadalupe County, TxDOT, the school board, the ACOG, the Texas Water Development Board, we all got together and had discussions about how difficult it is to receive funding for flood mitigation, how difficult it is because of the ETJ and the way water doesn't care whether it's the city limits or the county limits, and how the roadways are impacted by development and additional runoff. And from that, Mr. Reed and his staff are going to be establishing and getting us together in a regional cohort to address a lot of the problems that we have. So I'm sure as Mr. Reed develops that cohort into a more impactful approach, we will be reaching out to invite you either through Teams or in person to attend a training capacity to understand the water issues at hand. So you can attend without attendance issues if you so would choose to do that. Then also I went to the NEP luncheon, and Marissa had got to sit and speak with the woman from the South Texas, I'm going to butcher it, South Texas Texas State Technical College. Texas State Technical College. Thank you, Ms. Sanchez-Stevens. Texas State Technical College, we made a contact with her, which was exciting because one of the things that I also have been working on for the past several weeks is putting together a town hall with Mr. Reed and his staff to address things like the data center threat to us and the things that we need to know about that. And part of that is education in that field for persons that might choose to be educated, and we would like to invite her. So I'm glad that you were able to connect with her. I did, of course, the River City ribbon cutting for Ace Hardware. I was sad that Flag Day was canceled. I also attended a ribbon cutting for the Purpose Church, who is on the border of Cibolo and Santa Clara, and that was wonderful to see so many young families coming together. I also met with the data center education. I cannot remember the name of, I'm the worst with names, but basically they are, Mr. Reed, can you remember the name of his podcast?
If you give me just 15 seconds, I'll be able to
Yes,
tell
I
you.
will. And that way you guys have that information. My apologies for not writing it down. There have been some hectic things going on. I went to the chamber luncheon, and we had a SEO expert there. That was interesting. And I also met with Ms. Sanchez-Stevens and staff to address some San Antonio Foundation application funding for our senior center and folks that are most vulnerable around, but predominantly for how we would be a better applicant for funding and things through our senior center, which of course, as I learn what we need to do, I will share that with you. I went to the Match Tool webinar, which is GLOW. And let me just say this one quick. I'm learning how to go find the money through the GLOW portal, as well as through the Texas Water Development Board is going to link a lot of its funding through the GLOW, which makes it easier to search for that funding. But the data center expert that we were talking to was, drum roll please,
Kirk Offel, and his podcast is Data Center Revolution.
Data Center Revolution. So,
There's another gentleman, and I don't have he's with Focus Advocacy, and he's a big data center, not opponent, lover. I mean, I just don't know how else to put it, but he's really big on the data centers and how they impact the water and stuff as well. I will get his name and I will email it to you because I was just on a call yesterday with him that I forgot to mention. Yeah, that's somebody that to get better information or more information, we probably need to think about too.
and you said data center, what was it, Mr. Reed? I'm sorry? Data Center Revolution. Data Center
Yes.
Revolution.
Mhm.
And Danetta will send you and I that additional information.
Sounds good.
And all of us attended the budget workshop. Nobody said that. All right. And I also attended the EDC, and they are in the process of looking at their budget and helping us with the demand letter from GVSUD demanding the $600,000 in FY27. So we will be looking at their budget. I think they're going to wrap it up at the end of July. And so we should be taking a look at that pretty soon. So that's really all I have. Anybody need anything else?
Yeah, Mayor,
Or-
I just wanted to say that budget workshop was pretty amazing. Most of us did attend that, and the way that you all broke that down was amazing. Thank you for that. I just wanted to say that.
I have a quick question. Can you have the city manager send this out electronically for all of us? Just because it's a pretty good, like the way you have it put together. So it's like a format that we can follow, just like the electronic. Yeah. Huh? Yeah.
Digitally.
Yeah, the city secretary has it, yeah.
This, okay. All right, thank you.
Hey, I'm sorry. Sheesh. It's rough. You looking up close, I could see, but as soon as I take them off, it's a wrap.
So I think we can move on to 9I, Discussion on items the city council would like to see on future agendas. So I'm going to ask you, Ms. Valerie, to put on there for the subcommittee policy improvements or suggestions so that we can discuss those a more length and make sure that all of the needs of the entirety of the council are met. Anybody else have anything else?
We have a CIP subcommittee meeting tomorrow. But I also had a question about youth council. I know the applications are open right now, but our website does not have the close date. Mid-August, right? Okay, that's what I thought, but I went to go check and it wasn't on the website, so just FYI. Okay. For youth council applications, yes. They're open right now, so if you know anyone or want to post about
I
it.
do know somebody.
They're 7th to 12th graders. We're leaving it open through mid-August. However, prior to school starting, we were planning on doing a retreat. So like a Saturday where all the youth council members or interested members can come in and kind of plan out their year and have a whole day of strategic planning like we do. Maybe not as in-depth as we do, but kind of plan out what they want to do with the year so that the 1-hour meetings that they have once a month are much more productive, and they have a goal moving forward as a group. So,
Can I ask a quick question about youth council? Does the individuals that apply, do they have to live in Cibolo or go to like a certain Cibolo school district?
we just require that they live in Cibolo, I believe, that they're Cibolo residents. Mr. Huggins, did we allow ETJ, Cibolo ETJ? I can't remember. I don't remember expressly prohibiting it.
Valerie, if you
Yeah.
could also get that, if there is a policy on the youth council concerning ETJ residents, I'd appreciate that. We'll get her to look that up. All right, anything else for future agendas? Nope, okay. 9J, discussion action on the review and confirmation of all upcoming special meetings and workshops and scheduling the time, date, and place of additional special meetings or workshop. Ms. Chapman.
So anyone who has not already, let me know if you want to sign up for the shirts 4th of July Jubilee Parade. Just let me know and I'll get you signed up for that. I do already have Mayor Sanchez Stevens and Ms. Patterson signed up. We'll be signing you up. I had sent you an email. But if anybody else would like to, just let me know. And then, of course, the Cibolo Summer Nights on Friday the 5th. Oh, wait, I'm looking at June. Disregard. The 10th of July at 6:30. So.
Okay. All right, then what about our next workshop? Our next budget workshop? I just wondered.
Yes, that's in July.
July.
It's the Tuesday between our two meetings, so July 21st. So first meeting in July is the 14th, your regular meeting. So it's on the 21st, and then our last meeting in July is the 28th.
So July 21st will be our second budget workshop, and it will be recorded.
Yes.
In case anybody just really is curious. Okay. And then moving on to 10A, adjourning the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.